talking about the top 10 scariest things found in the desert. No, desert makes up around 1/3 landmass. When we consider the desert, we often think of Sahara Sandy areas, hot places, but fun fact for you, Antarctica is also recognized to be a desert. I learned this today, so I thought you should do it. It's actually the driest continent in the world and very little snow or rainforest, and for that reason, I've slipped in one truly terrifying thing found in Antarctica on this list, and it might really be scarce of them all. Alright, let's do this. What are we unearthing from the desert? Number 10. King Tut's tomb. If you look at an aerial view of the Valley of the Kings, you will see why King Tomb communes to when undiscovered for 2,000 years and change fundamentally. It's in the desert. Yeah, it's near to the edge of the desert and approaching the banks of the River Nile, but the desert nonetheless. Naturally, Egypt is basically desert hidden by the shifting sands. His tomb was finally discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter with the investment of Lord Carnival on the tomb. Is undoubtedly one of the scariest things to be dragged up from the desert, but the digging team was specifically looking for it. They weren't, however, looking for the curse that followed them. Yes, the curse of the pharaohs, one of the most worrying things ever to be brought up from the earth. The team that excavated the tomb were quickly dogged by a number of untimely deaths. On the day Carter entered the tomb, a cobra got into his pet canary's cage with the birds dead in its mouth. Now the cobra is the symbol of the Egyptian monarchy, and the symbolism really wasn't lost on locals. You began to panic, and panic, you know, really was kind of you, Lord Carnarvon. The financial backer of the excavation project died shortly after the tomb was first breached, as a result of infected mosquito bites. But even weird, the bite may have matched a healed lesion found on King Tut's cheek during his autopsy. No, two cannibals half-brothers also died shortly after the tunneling. One of the doctors who worked on King Tut bodies. This was radiologist Sir Archibald Douglas Reed. He died later, as did two other men. Number 9, Cursed Treasure. Is there cursed Aztec treasure hidden in the Utah desert? A lot of people imagine through the captions and myths surrounding Montezuma's treasure is remaining in the state. Did 3 children find some of it? Now this story is of Austin, Lyman, Jim, Reed and Winston has to spend their time as kids, digging up treasure in the desert nearby Blanding, Utah, because of the disappointment that befell the kids when they grew up to be adults. A lot of people have alleged that the ancient relics they found were cursed. Now Reed ended up killing himself, as the 2 other people involved with the late examination of the antiques. Number 8, Bodies. We have bodies in something from a scene of Breaking Bad. 5 bodies, burned, I quote, burned beyond recognition, were found in the Arizona desert in a burned-out SUV in 2012. This was a high number for sure, but not anything new for the region, which is famously dogged by drug cartels being so close to the Mexican boundary. Assume being the person who found them. Now in this situation, it was a border control agent whose job it is to patrol the Tucson-Phoenix border. Honestly, though, that's not what you want to discover when you're at work. Number 7. Sand patterns. In 2011, Google Earth snapped aerial shots of China's vast Gobi Desert. What did they find? Weird patterns in the sand, like really weird patterns. The grids contained 0.65 miles wide and 1.15 miles long, and the finding sparked a lot of consideration and conspiracy theories. Some speculated they were Chinese weapons testing sites, others set spy satellite calibration targets, replica street maps of Washington, D.C. and New York City, and some even went as far as to say that they were special messages meant for aliens. Now it turns out that the most likely option was spying satellite calibration, but we don't know for sure. Maybe the sound patterns are tracks left by. Number 5. Shell oil cover-up. In 1992, Shell HR involved in concealing a crude oil leak beneath the Midland residential subdivision in 2003. Emanating documents were unearthed buried in the desert near Las Vegas. The files buried were under 40 feet of sand, although they shall initially claim that the material found was simply office refuse by bury as they fall. Then, following the judgments, a jury found the Texas-New Mexico pipeline, a subsidiary of Shell, guilty of covering up the spill. Number 4. Horned kangaroos. Now I don't know how you feel about kangaroos, but I've never stopped to look at them and felt like, you know what? They need horns. I don't think that they do. It turns out though there could have been a breed of horned kangaroos. Once upon a time these horned kangaroos may have lived in an Australian desert cave, of course in May 2002. The bizarre discovery of mutant kangaroo skulls was found in Gibber Plains, Australia, and now the team from the Western Australian Museum and Pet.O.S. have found evidence of a giant lion from Australia. Number 3. A lost city in the Sea of Death. The Taklamakan Desert is the largest in China, and as the world's second largest shifting sand desert, now the name suggests you can get in but you can't get out, which is why the desert has often dubbed the Sea of Death. Hundreds of old arrangements and thousands of relics have been found buried in the Sea of Death. Now, interestingly, this also incorporates the last city of Lulan. Many mummified ancient bodies have been found, preserved in the sand to including the 4,000-year-old mummy of a young woman found in 1979. Now she has dumped the beauty of lowland the desert, made up part of the route along the old Silk Road. Who knows what the mysteries are of buried under the burning hot sands. Number 2. The Maori Man. This is a true mystery, one that does send shivers up my spine. The Maori Man, also known as Stewart Giant, is a massive geoglyph for design in the ground, a huge one. He's a man holding a throwing stick. Now it was discovered in 1998, in the outback of Australia by a plane flying over. It's 36 miles west of the smallest post town of Maori Man. The image in the desert sand is still visible today. However, geologists have presumed there's likely no way it could have been created externally. The use of GPS, which back in 1998 was pretty rudimentary. Nobody knows who created the image. TIFF adds to the mystery. The drawing is the exact reverse of the art emissions that use bronze raised from the bottom of the Adriatic Sea. That's the sea between Italy and Croatia. Now, this was raised in 1928, 70 years before the man was found. Number 1. Blood Falls. Can you imagine being an adventurer and coming across this literal vision, from how the Bleeding Glacier was discovered in 1911 by Australian geologist Griffith Taylor, and it has got more climactic over the years as the ice melts. It is one of the most brutal and systematic metaphors for global warming ever. The flaws are a minute the Taylor Glacier, and for decades people had no idea why resembled to be gushing blood. It Mother Nature bleeding? Honestly, none of the above. The red liquid isn't blood. It's iron-rich hyper-stealing water. Anyway, can you imagine making this discovery? It looks like an omen from actual Satan. Especially dramatic is an outburst of red color among all of the whites. So people, that was the top 10 scariest things found in the desert. Which of these things did you find the scariest? First, second, tell me on my comments box, so if you know more of any mystery, share with us in the comments below. If you liked the video, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and goodbye, until the next time.